Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session of our O Levels English Language 1123. And in this session, we are going to learn about the use of language. So, before proceeding, we should have a clear picture in our mind like what we really mean when we use this terminology, the use of language. So, let's discuss it first. What does it mean? Use of language refers to the way the words, phrases, or the sentences are carefully chosen and arranged to communicate ideas effectively by the authors. This terminology involves how a writer or a speaker expresses thoughts, emotions, and information to suit their purpose, audience, and context. Use of language include choice in vocabulary, tone, sentence structure, figurative language, literary or rhetorical devices. For example, in a formal essay, the use of language would be precise, clear, and academic, while in a story, it might be more descriptive and emotional to draw readers in. If someone is writing to persuade, so they might use a strong, convincing word and the rhetorical questions. If they are trying to entertain, they might use humor, vivid details, and playful language. In simple words, we can say that the use of language is not just about what is being said, it's about how it is being said. It shapes the reader's experience, guide their understanding, and create a connection between the writer and the audience. So let's explore further what are the particular techniques which are used by different authors in their compositions to make their compositions unique and captivating. First and the foremost is the word choice, which is most commonly known as diction as well. Remember, language is a very powerful tool that basically helps the writer to bring their ideas to life in a very special and a unique and a meaningful way. It allows them to share their thoughts, feelings, and messages in a style that is unique for them. So, writers use different techniques to captivate the attention of their audience towards their writing. For example, whenever you have visited the library, so you might have encountered so many books in front of you, but you have moved towards that particular corner which displays the book of your favorite author. There might be certain reasons that why that particular author is your favorite author. So this is what the target of the authors are. They want to make sure that their voice is being heard and understood. So in order to fulfill this objective, they apply different sort of techniques. Out of those techniques, the first and the foremost is the choice of the word. For example, if we pick up any book which is written by Roald Dahl, so we all almost know that Roald Dahl is a children author, and most of the language that is being used in Roald Dahl's novels, in his essays, or any particular text that he had composed is in a very simple language because he's a children author and he has targeted his audience, which are the children. And children cannot understand what Shakespeare has said. So that's why he had tailored his language in that particular precise way. So authors pick up the vocabulary, the particular techniques according to the interest of their readers. They want to make feel that their readers have been considered. They use precise vocabulary, they use connotations and denotations, they use lexical variety. Now let's discuss one by one that what do we really mean with the precise vocabulary, connotations and the denotations, and lexical variety. So basically, writer use different techniques like the word choices, sentence structures, and the literary devices to make their writing interesting, appealing, and engaging. And these are the three tools that helps them to paint a vivid picture in the reader's mind, to create an emotional impact and add a layers of meaning, whether it's through a dramatic sentence, a playful tone, or a thoughtful structure. Language helps to transform simple words into the powerful stories or arguments that captivates the audience and leave a lasting impact. If we pick up any particular essay which is being composed or any research paper that is being published by some scientist, so over there we would encounter so many scientific terminologies that would be only understandable by the particular persons who had studied science. There might be few common vocabulary words among those research papers or the essays that we have also studied in our academics, but not all. If you are hearing the conversation between two doctors, so they must be talking about some sort of medical processes, and we as a common people have no particular idea that what the terminology mean. So that's why author pick up the effective words that can deliberately convey the idea the author wants to present. Rather than writing the longer sentences, authors try to use a precise vocabulary, a short word that conveys a huge message. When it comes towards with the vocabulary words, so the vocabulary words have two meanings. One meaning is most commonly known as the literal meaning, and the other meaning is most commonly known as the figurative meaning. So let's discuss what is the difference between a literal meaning and a figurative meaning. Literal meaning is the meaning of the word that the word actually have. For example, if we take these, if we are talking about go, right? So go means that you are walking towards something, some place. But if you add an other figure of speech with go, so now the meaning of the go is going to be changed. This meaning is now known as the figurative meaning. For example, you have added away, a preposition with the go. So now the verb go has become a phrasal verb and it has a separate meaning. Lexical variety. Writers use different sort of vocabulary words to keep their readers engaged and make their text enrich. Writers make sure that they are not using too much advanced vocabulary, they are not using too much general vocabulary, because if the whole entire essay is being written by using a lot of advanced vocabulary words, so it will ultimately hinder the readability of the reader, as the reader has no particular idea what does that word mean. So there is no point of reading the whole entire text. The reader will not read it. So that's why authors usually go with a mixture or the variety of the words that they want to use in their composition. Somewhere they use simple words which can be easily understandable by all the common people, even those who are the first language speaker, or even those who are speaking English as a second language. And somewhere when the author deliberately want to create some sort of effect, so they use advanced vocabulary words. Another prominent technique that we all can encounter while reading any sort of text is the sentence structure. Writers do not write the whole entire composition, whole entire narrative, or any piece of text by using the simple sentence structure. They even introduce variety of sentences. They use simple sentences somewhere to convey their ideas. They use compound sentences to show connection between the ideas, and they use complex compound sentences to provide more details about the idea that they have given. So, word choices, also known as diction, and understanding the words helps you to understand the sentence structure. And understanding sentence structure is like learning the rhythm of good writing. It helps your words to flow smoothly and keep your readers interested. Writers use different types of sentences. simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex compound sentences to add a variety and the clarity in their composition. A simple sentence usually being used to present the main idea, right? For example, the sun rose. It's short, clear, and direct. Whereas a compound sentence helps to join two ideas with the connectors like and or but. For example, the sun rose and the birds began to sing. You introduce the main idea and then you added a bit of detail for the main idea. So this mixture of the sentence structures give the readers more details while keeping the message balanced. A complex compound sentence adds even more layers. Like, although it was early, the sun rose and the birds began to sing. So this structure shows relationship between the ideas and add depth towards what is being spoken. Another powerful tool which is being used by the author is parallelism. What is parallelism? Parallelism is a technique where similar ideas are written in the same format for effect. For example, she came, she saw, she conquered. So the main idea that as a writer I want to convey is the victory. But rather than just writing the simple sentence that she won, I have added a bit of details. I have added the particular emotions that might have evoken inside the character that has enforced the character to win. So the repetition of the structure makes it catchy and memorable. Lastly, changing the length of the sentences keep writing very lively. A short sentence can be used to present any sort of surprise. For example, he was gone. If you want to add more details, so you can follow it with a longer sentence to build a scene or to add explanation. He was gone. No one knew where he went. And the house felt emptier than ever before. So mixing these techniques makes writing dynamic, easier to read, and enjoyable for the audience. Next thing is about the understanding of tone and the voices in writing. What is tone and what is voice? For example, as an author, you are just writing a piece of composition to provide information to your details, which is technically a discursive piece of composition. So your tone is going to be balanced. You're not going to take a side of one particular stance. You would be talking about the both stances, like you might be discussing the positive impacts, or you might, along with it, you would be discussing the negative impacts as well, because your objective is just to provide information. So you're not going to criticize on anything. If in case you are writing to persuade your reader and you want your reader to get agree with what you are saying, so here you are going to take one particular stance and you are going to emphasize on your stance so that your reader can get agree to what is being said. So this is how the tone varies from text to text. If we are reading a narrative text, if it is a fictional, so it will have a different tone. If we are reading a scientific fiction, so it is going to have a different tone. So tone help us to realize and understand that what author has basically being aimed to convey, what particular message or what particular language author want us to be conveyed. Next, another important thing that plays a vital role to make your composition and make a composition of any author captivating, engaging, and appealing is the structure and organization. Structure and organization play a key role in the effective use of language because they help to shape how the ideas are presented and understood by the reader. A well structured piece of writing has a clear beginning, a clear middle, and a clear ending, which allows the message to flow smoothly and logically. In this way, the readers have been helped to follow what writer had been thinking without any confusion. For example, if you are writing a narrative and you are starting with an engaging introduction that grabs the attention, or you have added the setting that has effectively grabbed the attention of your audience towards the suspense that you are creating, right? So your reader's attention is going to be immersed in what you have written. Within paragraphs, organizing sentences in a logical order, such as from general to the specific or cause to effect, make the writing more coherent and persuasive. So, a structure of a writing also support the tone and the purpose of the text. For instance, a persuasive piece might use short, punchy paragraphs to build urgency, while a descriptive one may use longer, flowing sentences to create vivid imagery. In simple words, we can say that the structure organization act as a framework that holds the language together, ensuring clarity, impact, and better experience for the reader. All of us might have read so many books in our lives from our childhood, or might be the people who are hearing me at the moment are an avid reader, active learner, active readers as well. So while we are reading, we might have seen so many areas where the author has provided a longer sentences by just adding the comma in it, and few particular areas where author has used the short sentences only. If we are reading any piece of article which is being published in a newspaper or in a magazine, so the first and the foremost thing that will grab our attention is the headline. So the structure helps your reader to understand what you have written. If you have written a piece of article and you are just starting with dear friend, so it technically does not make any sort of logic, because as a reader I am going to get the understanding that you have written a letter. But when I'm going to go through with when I'm going to go through in the detail of what you have read, I will realize that it's an article. So I will get confused at why, as an author, you have used dear friend at the beginning. An article must come with a headline. So this is why a structure and the organization plays a very important role in writing. Let's discuss another example. For example, if you have read a longer text which is of 4 pages and there is no paragraph in it, right? It is written in a continuous writing. Would you be able to track the main idea which was discussed in the setting? No, because in order to go back to the setting, you need to read again the whole entire text. So, paragraphing, structure, or the organization also help our readers to relocate the information. Humanly, it is not possible at all for all of us to retain the information while we are reading. So, most of the avid readers or the active readers, what they usually do that whenever they read one particular paragraph, they write the main idea that has been presented by the author in that particular paragraph. If in case once they have read the whole entire paragraph and they encounter some sort of uncertainty or confusion, so they can easily track back where this idea has been produced or discussed. So let's wrap up today's lesson quickly. Like what we have learned the particular techniques that the writers use to make the reader visualize what the things had happened with the writer. We have learned about the aspiring what is a aspiring writers should do, should explore, and how to apply these themes to develop their voice. We have discussed about the impact of the language, why it is important, and how it's going to be useful for our reader. So talk now. Let's talk about okay, what is the particular need to understand this use of language. Remember, the use of language is not only necessary for your paper number one, which is your reading paper. It's also necessary for your paper number two, which is your writing. As far as the component number one, the paper one is concerned, so the question number two in component number one is aligned with the use of language, where we would be given with the particular pieces of the text from the longer paragraph, and we would be asked the questions based on the vocabulary, sentence structure, literary devices, and rhetorical devices, all the techniques that is being used by the author over there to create a deliberate effect or to provide one particular impression. As far as the paper 2 is concerned, so in paper 2 we are basically going to work out with writing a composition, and our target is to achieve level 5 marking. And if we pay a very close attention with the descriptors of level number 5, so we can clearly see that all of these particular techniques has been mentioned over there. In order to score a better grade in the writing paper, you should have a clear understanding of these literary techniques or the use of language, so that your composition will stand unique among the remaining candidates. If you have any queries, so you can post your queries in the chat box. I will try my level best to get back to you as soon as possible. Happy learning.